This Hell's Kitchen video contains elements that are not suitable for children under the age of 14. Viewer discretion is advised. Carpe diem, my name is Ultranatic, and welcome to the Rule Index for my series on the worst chef in every season of Hell's Kitchen by episode. Why am I making this? The index, not the series. I think that explanation speaks for itself and knows who it is, you get me. But I'm making this guide because there are in fact a lot of rules for this series, and I figured it'd be best to knock them out in a separate reference video rather than bog down any individual video elsewhere in the series with them.
This is nice. Just throw all that away. Your biggest problem is you don't know when to stop.
Oh, it's also a bit of a prologue to explain why this series got made, so if you just want the rules, here's a shorthand list on the screen. I'll dive into all these more in just a second. Or you can skip to this timestamp if you want me to cut to the chase. But here's the kicker. I'm not the first person to ever do this. Maybe in video form I am, but not across all mediums, mind you. We've all seen commenters in other Hell's Kitchen forums catalog chef mistakes, and a couple have been the topic of ridicule. Now, a few have been done in jest more than seriously, so I won't factor in everyone I've seen. But I do know some people online mean it entirely sincerely, and when they take it as seriously as they do, to the point of nitpicking, it becomes very easy to poke fun at.
I had 2 bad services, all right? Let's just do it like that.
I've had one.
I had one tonight.
I've had one.
I've had one.
So
Let's not, no.
We've all mocked mistake counts like this, and I already feel like a dick for making fun of these takes. Even when I don't agree with them. Here's why I feel bad. 1, whether these comments are coming from one person or multiple people, I don't know any of them personally. They could be saints or demons for all I know. But I have not met them face to face and am essentially just pointing and laughing at their hyperfixation, and yeah, am I one to talk? It's not like these mistake counts are actually hurting anybody. Not really. Some of the worst chefs to ever be on Hell's Kitchen are doing just fine in their real life careers, so if the show hasn't killed their prospects, a few stray comments recounting their flubs, whether accurate or not, probably won't do it either.
You know what, Chef Ramsay, decided that it was my turn to go home, so I hope he welcomes the competition in New York when I open my restaurant.
Is Gordon Ramsay genuinely a dick, or is he like
Absolutely
just?
Not.
He's just a dick on TV.
We're actually, friendly.
Yeah.
Or were. I haven't seen or spoken to him in a long time. But after the show, they invited me to come to his book signings and have dinner at the London. And, it was a nobody else was getting that for some reason.
And even when inaccurate, there's a certain passion to this dedication that I feel shitty for being so harsh on. I mean, what? Would I prefer the Nicole Rutzes, Elliot Sanchez's, or Tiffany Johnsons of the world to take over? No. So I say let them keep doing them, because even if I find several of their assessments wrong, it's not like they're the only ones ever contested in Hell's Kitchen. You know who else's assessments have been contested?
No! Get out! Out! Get your jacket off. Off! Get out! Get out!
Yeah, we've all seen video after video of unfair eliminations in this show, and since these decisions primarily come from Gordon Ramsay, as far as we've seen, you gotta point the finger at him if you don't agree with some of these boots. And I don't resent him. It's not like I think he ever eliminated someone I thought was outright winning, except maybe Nick in All Stars, but that was more someone else who sent him home. But the point is, we can't all act like he got it right 100% of the time. Maybe not even 3/4 of the time. He might have gotten rid of a weak link in every episode, but not necessarily the weakest link. Which brings me to my second reason I feel bad for bashing those comments before. I want in. For so long, I wanted to try my hands at this for myself, and that's when the hypocrisy dawned on me and I wanted to right that wrong, hence this prologue. But if I'm going to do this, I want to do it right. And I'm almost certainly going to fail at that, but no one ever reached success by giving up before they started. Yeah, I'm not gonna satisfy everyone with this series, best I come to terms with that now, but this series is meant to at least satisfy me. The thesis being, if I'd been in Gordon Ramsay's shoes, who would I have eliminated after every service? What would my criteria have been? How consistent would the metric be? Would the metric be purely objective? The answer to that last question is no. I mean, I'll try to be objective, but on that front, I will fail because there's no way every viewer will agree with me on my final decisions for each episode. It's all going to be my opinion, but it's an opinion I will try to back up with facts. Which even then won't be perfect. It's reality TV after all. There's no way we got the full picture for how every episode played out. But based on the edit we got, every video I make will be my choice for the worst chef by episode in every season of Hell's Kitchen. And with that out of the way, here are my rules for how these videos will play out. Rule number 1, and my bare bones criteria for the worst chef in each episode. I'm picking the chef who made the largest quantity of the worst mistakes. And what do I mean by worst? Well, to boil it down to 2 categories, they are A, any hazardous practices in the kitchen that could harm the chef's cooking in it or the customer's dining there, to include serving inedible items to patrons like plastic wrap or the likes of which, and speaking of inedible, B, any dish made by the chef sent back from the past or dining room due to being cooked improperly. Also personal preference, I consider raw/undercooked foods to be more shameful than foods that are overcooked/badly seasoned. It's wrong either way, just one is more likely to kill than the other. Now, what about improperly cooked food that is not sent to the past? That can count, but it won't initially, since food brought to the past is a sign of the chef who cooked it signing off on its quality completely, and if they didn't bring it to Chef Ramsay, that's at least a display of quality control. But it can be factored in for the sake of breaking ties, the rules for which will be addressed as we go. And to those asking, wait, what about chefs with poor leadership, bad communication, a horrible attitude, lack of cleanliness, etc.? Again, those won't be factored in initially only because, and bear with me, you can be a good chef while failing in those categories. Probably not a great chef, granted, but certainly a serviceable one. For example's sake, Petroza's cleanliness in season 4 sucked, but people believe he should have won. And several chefs have been snubbed early due to not being incredibly vocal, either on the line or while running the brigade, but their cooking was totally fine otherwise. You get my point. Now, I can factor all of that in especially terrible cases, but largely I'm focused on the product, since that's what people are coming for first and foremost. They'll hardly have any idea of what's going on in the kitchen beyond that.
Cause I know ain't none of my damn steaks come back. How many fish came back for you? My 2 fish came back with you.
2. Continuing from my last point, I'm grading the worst chef in every episode, not the worst person. That's something else entirely. If I didn't clarify that, then on principle, I'd have to rank Deathstroke as the worst chef in all of their episodes of season 8, going purely by morals. Don't know who/what I'm talking about? Look up the Jewish contract, you'll get the reference then. But being a shitty person doesn't necessarily equal being shitty at what you do. See Hope Solo for more info on that.
I did nothing up. That. Some of it has to do with attitudes. Maybe that's what it is. I don't know. Like I don't think it's all based
for my team 100 times a day.
3. I'm mainly judging service mistakes, since chefs can sometimes be great at reward challenges and then completely annihilated on the line. Ironically, sometimes vice versa too, but Ramsay's choices for elimination usually come from the chef's service performance, so that's what I'm grading too. However, I have a theory that Ramsay does factor in reward scores, or lack thereof sometimes, if his decision comes down to the wire, so I will do that also if need be in the case of breaking ties. Oh, and my initial rules for services will again apply to challenges. Dishes that are dangerous for people's health or anything raw, undercooked, overcooked, badly seasoned, etc. will be first in the firing line.
Joe had an amazing taste profile and was a standout in challenges. Unfortunately for him, dinner services were just out of his reach.
before, I'm doing this on modern rules. Meaning, you know how from the 5th season onward, Ramsay eliminated chefs regardless if their team won service or not? Well, so am I. My selections won't be restricted to just the nominees or even the losing team. It's across the board. I do not care how the team performed. This is an individual analysis.
I think somebody else deserves to be out here. Who? I don't give a but I wasn't up for elimination. So the person that was up for elimination should be out here.
Yeah.
Oh, speaking of, 5, singular, I did say the worst chef in every episode, meaning only 1. Even if more than 1 chef went home, I gotta pick the absolute worst amongst them to include non-nominees if I think someone did worse than even them. Although for funsies, I'll mention any runners-up in every episode if I found it close or even semi-close.
This is a very, very difficult decision because you both should go.
6, no waiting / maitre d' mistakes. It's the worst chef in each episode, so if all they did was wait tables or take orders, they're exempt. And if in a double booking they both cooked and served, their cooking performance will take priority. Server mistakes are not the point of this. Now, table side, on the other hand, will still be counted. Those people did still cook something, even if not in the kitchen.
Dude, I'm asking you a question. I don't know what Giovanni could have said to the clients that had 90% of the people saying he was below average.
I don't know what chef's deal is. I gave it all I had. I gave it 100%. I'm not getting kicked off for being a waiter.
7, quitters. Will they immediately be declared the worst in their episode? No, actually. Not if I think someone still did worse than they did. But if they did do the worst, of course they're getting picked. Why wouldn't they be? It just won't be for quitting in and of itself. And this does apply to rage quits too, though preferably during service, so don't count on Joseph getting selected, let's be real.
Chef Ramsay got pissed at me. I'm sure he looks at me as a little you know, whatever. I don't really care what Chef Ramsay thinks of me. I'm done. You have a nice day.
8, mid-service ejections. They just automatically take the title. Yeah, spoilers I get. What am I talking about? That spoils nothing. If Chef Ramsay eliminated a contestant before service even ended, logically, they warranted it. I'll concede some chefs have been kicked out of service unfairly a handful of times, but I don't think any viewer of this show will say a person was ejected unfairly. No, they got the exact fate they deserved, and I'll record it thusly. I suppose I'll mention who did worst aside from them as runners-up, but some eliminations are just objectively correct.
Every table you've touched, yeah, chef, you screwed. Apron off, jacket off, and off out of here. You're done.
9, what about elimination challenges from before the first service, i.e. punishment patch challenges? Nope, can't fairly judge those chefs' service performance since they never had one, so Kenneth, Ava, Carlos, heck, even Antonia, I know she was medevaced, but she fits in this category in spirit, I think. Y'all are safe. Maybe y'all would have bombed, maybe y'all wouldn't have. There's no way of knowing. Also, I did not mention Jason Zapaltis since, well, he did prove himself later, and also, who the hell was thinking he'd even do bad just based on his season 9 signature dish? No one, get your head out of the clouds. But if it's for an elimination challenge that happened after the first service, meaning chefs have been otherwise initiated in all of Hell's Kitchen, I will judge things like Cook for Your Life challenges or even Final 3 eliminations based on who got the most / harshest criticisms against them, since those can be counted as mistakes, even if subjective ones.
I feel like I let my state down like pretty heavy. Man, I know I don't overcook fish. Like, that's something I know I don't do. I do not know what happened at all. Like, I am so disappointed in myself for doing that.
On the subject, 10, what about finales? I mean, does the runner-up just take that place in most cases? No. See, that's a fun scenario I don't see get talked about much. I'll instead be judging across both kitchens who I think was the worst finale brigade member. Obviously that won't matter since the chef's already been eliminated, but largely the brigade performs worse than the chef leading them 95% of the time, so that's how this will be judged.
All of you come back here right now. Everybody come back right now. Okay, my chicken's raw. I need you all to be on the exact same page. Do not let me look like a
Amber makes one mistake, and then everything else will suffer because she's like 80% here and 20%.
Oh, speaking of, 11, for File 4/File 3 pass runs, will leadership count then? Yes, since that's a more crucial element to who Gordon Ramsay eliminates at that point, so if they don't catch a lot of sabotages, I'll absolutely count those. But if we happen to also see mistakes from the line not having to do with leadership, then of course they'll still be noted and factored in.
2 bass, 2 lamb, 2 Wellington, 1 no pork.
Run me through the ingredients of the Wellington.
No, there's no pork in the Wellington.
Prosciutto?
Oh, there's prosciutto on that, so how the hell are we gonna do this?
John, you know we can't special order a no pork in the Wellington? They're already pre-rolled. You want us to what? Break one open and take out the prosciutto? Are you serious?
12, for anyone who wants to be cheeky, what about head-to-head black jacket services, like from seasons 9, 10, 11, or 13? You know, where all-star chefs / sous chefs battled against current ones?
I remember Russell for sure. What a ass. I hope he goes down harder than anybody on that team.
Yeah, I'm just counting the chefs actually in the competition. I suppose for fun, I'll say who did the worst from those other brigades, but it's not like Ramsay was ever going to eliminate them instead. What sense would that have made?
Mash, please, James.
My hand.
Again, it's always in your hand. I want it on a plate. I'll put it down. I'll do it. You're busy, yeah? If I say plate, I'll say plate. Oh.
Chef is just riding my ass right now. I don't know what the I did wrong.
13, only canon mistakes, meaning it has to be mistakes seen in the episode, not behind the scenes stuff revealed later on. The majority of viewers won't be privy to that anyway, so if anyone does have info they want to share on that, feel free to comment, but it ain't being factored in. Except in one season's case, but you'll hear about that in due time.
Sarah didn't speak up and say, Chef, I did tell her that I was ready. She should have at least spoken up and said something. Virginia wants to say, well, you up that turbo, and it's like, yeah, well, so? Chef Ramsay can't stand you right now. I don't necessarily see that as such a bad thing.
14. What about non-service episodes? As in, episodes where no service nor even elimination challenge occurs. These are normally the first part in a 2-parter episode, with part 2 being where the service/challenge really occurs. This oftentimes happens in premieres where the first service does not occur until episode 2, but it can pop up elsewhere in the season also. And honestly, I'm just gonna combine them. I think that's only fair.
Oh my God, someone's leaving right now.
You ready to go home? No way, Chef.
15. What if more than one service occurs in an episode, like a reward service on top of an immunity one? I'll factor in both to be absolutely fair, but I did say the worst chef in every episode, so it's going to be the summated total. Though again, for stats' sake, I may mention who does worst in reward services too, if different from immunity, cause why not?
Well done! Ladies won!
I take full responsibility of it. It was a race against time. The faster team won. May not be the better team, but they were the faster team.
16, and my most controversial rule, I reserve the right to adjust/break any of the above rules. Yeah, doesn't that make me a fair and unbiased critic? I am definitely not the latter, but when I say that last one, it will only be in rare exceptions. Like, at most maybe one service per season on average, if even that. Because some chefs I'll declare the worst in their episode won't actually fit the criteria here, and if I went by that cold, logical approach, some chefs wouldn't be in consideration at all, and not only would that make many of you unhappy, it'd make me unhappy too. I'm gonna have to treat some of these selections on a case-by-case basis anyway, given a few concessions within these rules, so if/when I make these exceptions, I'll tell you. You may disagree with my stances there, or even here if you want, and that's perfectly fine. I stated at the beginning, and count this as number 17. This is all opinion. Opinions I will try to back up with facts, but it's who I see as the worst chef in every episode by season. So if you see an issue with who I picked and why, take it up with me and I'll hear you out. Inevitably, who I pick in the video will be finalized, but much like the dishes brought to the past by these chefs, that's because I have total faith in them. And also like those dishes, they can be returned to sender if they're totally botched. I have to live with that. But as an experiment, I hope you'll agree to these terms above, as coming up next for Ultranatic, I begin going over the worst chef in every episode of Hell's Kitchen, starting with Season 1. A season I don't exactly think highly of, but even I have to admit, has its moments.
That is absolute dog.
I got no rules, I count 'em.